Hi, Molly. How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Thanks for coming in. So I know we've met a couple of times, but I'm going to start today by just kind of going over what CBT is and making sure that you kind of understand and feel comfortable with the approach that we'll be using today and throughout our sessions.
Okay.
So, cognitive behavioral therapy is an approach that starts by helping you identify something that's potentially going on in your life that you're having a hard time with. And so you're identifying that troubling situation or event. And then the goal is to identify unhelpful or negative thoughts about that event, which might point to patterns of thinking in your life, as well as drawing the connection between that and your emotional experience of both those thoughts as well as those life experiences. And so we're trying to see what are ways that we're thinking about things that might not be helpful, and then finding ways to kind of address and shift those thoughts to be more helpful and healthy for you. So why don't we talk a little bit about what brings you here today?
Okay. Well, and as you're talking about, the CBT, I think it might be helpful. So I got into, I had a bad breakup, and I got, like a lot of other people probably, got really depressed after, the breakup, and I'm just really struggling with trying to get back to my routines, having a lot of, I'm having a lot of negative thoughts about trying to potentially be in another relationship. I mean, I have a friend who wants me to come over and, maybe set me up, or family really encouraging me, and it's causing a lot of anxiety around trying to think through what that might look like. If I just want to go to my friend's house to see them and I don't necessarily want to experience being set up, but at the same time knowing that maybe I should be in more social settings. But it's really hard right now, and trying to think through, well, what if the person doesn't like me, or will I be able to be in another relationship? It's a lot.
So it sounds like you're really you're aware of both the previous relationship you had and maybe struggling a little bit with figuring out how to transition into spending time with other people or not spending time with other people, and figuring out how to do that in a way that's comfortable for you. So was there something that happened this week specifically since we last met that was maybe a little extra difficult?
So kind of alluding to this friend, right? So they had me over, and there was somebody that they wanted me to meet there, and just on my way over there, I was just so anxious, and it took a lot of work to get in the car. And I mean, it's so silly, and it shouldn't have been that big a deal, but it was just like the little social settings it's very hard, and I just kind of want to be by myself a little bit and not have to be so anxious in those different environments.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really common experience, I think, especially for someone who's just experienced a breakup. So can I ask what were you thinking about, or can you identify some thoughts that you were having as you were getting into the car maybe?
A lot of different thoughts. I think the biggest one was just that feeling of, what was I going to be judged? I mean, is this person going to like me?
Yep. And how did that make you feel then? What were emotions you were having?
Oh, I mean, I had a stressful car ride when I walked into the house. It totally changed the setting. It was automatically, I wasn't there to have fun or hang out with somebody. I was not necessarily like performing, but I was totally concerned about what this other person's going to think about me.
So it sounds like you're maybe having some anxiety about how the other person will view you, and maybe how that will reflect on who you are even as a person. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So did you end up going into the house?
I did.
Okay. And how did it go?
It was okay. I felt like I was doing a lot of avoiding.
Yeah.
And I was really tired by the time I got home. I mean, it was fine. There was nothing really that happened, but the whole night. It was just not enjoyable. I was very anxious the whole time.
And as you were interacting with people, what were some thoughts that you were having at the time? Were there some moments that felt good or moments that felt particularly negative?
I think it's hard to remember everything because I was really consumed by all this, negative talk that I was having about, myself, and it extended to other people. Then what are they going to think about me? And people who were with partners, critiquing their relationship and not feel like maybe I was good enough given that as well.
Yep. So just to kind of summarize, it sounds like the thoughts that you're having might be not even so much related to the moment of that interaction, but maybe a little more deeply associated with how you're feeling about yourself right now, and especially coming out of just a really difficult and painful experience. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for coming in today, Molly. I think that's where we're going to stop.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.